go. Alrighty, filling in for Dusty today. Let's go ahead and start the meeting. We've got the minutes of the September meeting, September 28th meeting. Has everybody looked at those? Kind of gone over them a little bit. I looked over them, they looked fine to me.
I really don't have any follow-up with them unless there's any questions.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. Okay,
So I move that we accept them as written.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Angie?
Yes.
Bradley? Joe?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed.
Next thing, review the public hearing comments received and consider for approval of fixed route changes to accommodate the fleet of large buses. What do you got there for us, Dan?
Well, I've attached all the comments so that you can see them. I haven't really
Yes.
done a tally of them, but, you know, there were probably about like 4, maybe 5 comments. And then there was some questions and some observations. So it did generate some discussion. It centered around the new activity with the route changes. And obviously, you know, there's some that you would like to see additional service. And then, I think probably the 2 comments that were more closely related to the changes that we're making were the opposition of, not really opposition, but a concern with doing away with the Morris Loop, and then a concern with the small stretch of Kincaid. And so a couple of comments relating to that, and again, you know, we regret having to make any changes, any reductions whatsoever. A lot of this, it just goes back to the nature of safety with the large buses, you know, getting them in and around tight streets, safely, is difficult, and being able to keep the routes on time. And then we also look at, you know, the number of people being served or impacted. And we really feel like this is just something we're gonna have to do, in order to get these buses going. And, you know, we can look later on, you know, after we've got these, buses en route, and see if we have more time, if there's an opportunity to add in new areas or go back and grab areas that were previously served, then we can certainly take a look at that. But in the interest of safety, these buses, that when they're driving them, drivers are a little more timid, which is a good thing, you know. And when you approach a stop sign, you have to, or a stoplight, you have to think about your distancing a lot more, because you're stopping a much heavier vehicle. And so that takes more time, and you're naturally driving a little slower, maybe even than the speed limit, you know, in trying to make sure that you're gonna make these stops in a coordinated fashion. And so with that in mind, these are the, we've presented a map in your packet, also one on display that shows the changes that we've made. There's not a, you know, a list of omissions, so to speak, but, you know, I can kind of run through them just to give you an idea. You know, some of the key changes we made were, down at the downtown area where the Jenny Land route departs. It used to go down 10th Street. We're omitting that little section, and we're actually taking it out B Street. We're gonna take it across, where we used to take it across on B Street to Lexington. Now we're gonna take it across on E Street. That way it'll cover the UAMS training center, and covers it well. So, and then we're doing that on the way back in too. So that's a little transition with that. You know, we had probably most of our efforts and changes were centered around what to do on the other end of Jenny Lynn. And so we're not really omitting many areas, we're just changing about the different way that we go about doing it. We're gonna use after we come out of the super center with the Jenny Lynn route, we're going back to Jenny Lynn. We're going to take the interstate, and then go go out to 71, we're gonna cover the neighborhood markets. We're actually covering that a little closer than what we covered before. We're actually going kind of right by the edge of the building. We're covering neighborhood markets, coming back, we'll come back on to 71 and turn over here at Kavanaugh, over by Littlefields, gas station. And then we're gonna come up, so it'll, turn left onto 28th Street. At that point, it'll be door side to, the senior center, on 28th Street, Kavanaugh Senior Center. It'll go past the library that we had a concern, and it'll turn on to Brookendale and complete the route as it was originally designed, with the exception of E Street when you get back down to the bottom of it. So that's gonna be the changes that were made on that.
There weren't any comments on that, were there?
No, there really weren't,
Nobody
but,
commented on that part.
but, you know, we're trying to look and we're trying to,
There was a little bit of one about that part, kinda near,
Right.
near that
The
28th part,
library,
over by the
yes,
library.
yeah.
And that is one of the more popular stops
Right.
on that end of that
Right.
route.
Mm.
and so we really worked hard to keep that back in there. You know, again, we'll monitor it, see how it works out. We're thinking of a lot of things when we're making these changes. You know, we're thinking of the holiday traffic, you know, when times are busy, you know, when weather's bad, you know, so there's a lot of different aspects that go into route planning. Another one that is a little bit different on the Towson route, is, and another thing, we mentioned at the last meeting, changed to this meeting, we are going to plan to try to get up close to the Walmart building, on Zero Street. So, we're gonna work with that, we're gonna do it safely, but in the event that, you know, we're gonna be pliable in the event that if something's going on, we may have to make that change out in the parking lot.
It's got a nice flat parking lot, so
Yeah.
people can still access
Right.
that even
Right.
if we have to go a ways.
Key change there is gonna be where we previously came out, of Walmart on the Towson route, went down Xavier Street. Xavier's got real deep ditches and it's a narrow road. We decided to go one block over to Vicksburg, and it's got shallow, ditches, probably about the same width of road, but certainly more options if you encounter another vehicle or something that's a large vehicle, that you can at least get off the edge of the roadway if need be. So that will take us over to 31st Street, 31st Street back out to the, kind of out past the Target area, or to Phoenix, out past the Target area. Most of that route is the same at that point. We've got kind of a plan going on for how we're gonna serve the, VA clinic. You know, we're gonna make sure that, so there's the VA clinic, there's a stop out on Phoenix, and then there's, you know, naturally up against the building, cause it's a pretty good distance from the building to
I've had
Phoenix.
some rider feedback about wishing we
Right.
could get a little closer to the building there.
So we are gonna, our general pass is gonna be on the Phoenix and the stop that's on Phoenix. However, by call or by demand, we will certainly, deviate the bus in closer to the facility.
Great.
And when we do that, we're gonna make sure that we clear that stop that's on Phoenix, because the turn is actually prior to that stop. So, you know, in the event that we get a call and we deviate from it, if there's somebody at that stop as well, we'll go to the second entrance and go in. If there's not anybody at that stop, we'll go to the first entrance and service that, the VA clinic out closer to the building. So that'll work out really good. So that's really key changes on it. Am I missing anything, David? Is that pretty much what,
Yeah, we're just gonna approach Target a little different, nothing serious in there.
Right.
You've got it pretty good on that edge out there.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. With respect to the Grand Route, the changes there is gonna be omitting the Morris Loop. And like I said,
What is on that? That didn't seem familiar to me. I saw it in the comments and I couldn't think of what's
Where that was.
what's on that.
yeah, so if you look at the old map, it kinda looks like a hammerhead, you know, the
We didn't
way-
build the loop for no reason. I know it must be
No,
servicing
and that-
something.
yes. And it was kinda to, you know, fill that void into that area there where there wasn't any bus service, so we were trying to get, you know, closer to the residents. But it is not really made for large buses in that area. I mean, it's residential streets that are kind of, you know, narrow, and, we did have an individual we do have an individual that rides that every day, and so we'll need to work on ways. It's still within 3 blocks of the, fixed route, and when you look at the nationwide standard, they're looking at 4 blocks of access to the fixed route. Still nothing you wanna do when today you can step off and get on the bus right now, you know, but it's
3
still
blocks is
possible to
reasonable.
do it.
Yeah, I'm used to walking 3 blocks,
Right,
that's not a big deal.
and it's a regret, but in the interest of safety, it's necessary. There's also kind of a, what we call an armor loop, which is up by, Spradley, and that does include the Ray Baker Senior Center, but it's just gonna be too hard for us to get in there with us.
And maybe like we talked about last meeting and grandfather those
Yeah,
riders at a regular fare.
we'll work with those and see if we can do some sort of a compensation, to help them get oriented on a demand service, or see what we can do, you know, to help them out. That will be the biggest kind of area that, but we did stop getting as much utilization on that when CSCDC moved over here to
Yeah.
Zero Street. That was really why that was put in there, was to cover the area of CSCDC. And then there is a Windsor Library down there that we tried to get that in there when we could. It's just gonna be too hard for that particular area. And that's not very far from the fixed routes either, so, that's walkable as well. And then the 2 other areas, really maybe 3, I guess, that we're changing is there was a small little loop that we did to a dentist office that we just didn't get a lot of, participation to, and that had some really sharp turns on it that would, you know, make it very difficult for a large bus. So we kinda took that little piece out. Also, we took out Reed Lane, down at the, is that right? Did I say that
Yeah.
correctly? Yeah,
Okay.
down by OK Foods. There, you know, that's, we wanted to get up close to that building, but it just doesn't lend itself because the streets that go to that area are really small. So we're taking that out.
But we're still gonna be able to get pretty close to OK Foods?
Yeah, it's still close, we'll still do the Gerber Loop on call, if we get a call. So it's still close. It's, what was
It's
it?
around 500 feet at the end of Reed Lane and
Yeah.
6th.
500 feet.
Right on.
That's
That's
fine.
So
nothing.
it's
That's
not that bad.
I just wanna make sure we were still pretty
Yeah.
accessible to OK Foods,
And I think
that's a
just,
pretty,
you know, going up to
hot
that
stop.
end, it makes it possible, so, but that brings, the timing back into where we can handle it. The last, change on that would be near the future school, we're actually going down, correct me if I'm wrong, 10th Street?
10th to F to 8th,
Yeah, and to 8th,
to
okay.
8th, yeah.
Yes, 10th Street to F Street. Well, we went down 10th Street all the way before. We're cutting over at F Street and going up to the kind of back edge of Future School, and then we're going to 8th Street. We tried to get closer, but there's some of those speed bollards that's in the area, and we really feel like this is probably the best approach anyways, to get the bus where it's not encountering the everyday school traffic, but yet it's really close to the school. So we think that's gonna work well. Then we'll take 8th Street back over and finish up, that approach into the transfer station. Rogers, Express, very little changes except for at Central Mall. We're no longer gonna do the P Street, stop that we were doing. It's very challenging going down that hill. If there's any formation of ice, we do not want that big bus going down that hill, on P Street. Is it P Street? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
48th and B.
Yeah. I think even when it's slick, it's kind of a concern, rain. So we're gonna get away from that with the big buses. we've visited with, the officials from the mall and also from Firestone. So our plan is to do a transfer, come back on the edge of Firestone, on the inside edge of Firestone nearest the mall. And so we'll do a transfer there, between the, help me if I'm wrong here, would that be the,
Express and
Rogers
Super
Express and Super Center route, right? Okay. We'll do that transfer there. And so, other than that, there's not really any changes to Rogers Express. Super Center is gonna have, where it previously went out on Rogers route, back towards the downtown area. Now its route is gonna be taking in Dallas Street. We're doing that to try to capture, more service to the medical facilities. That was one of our goals in the budget process for 2023, was to try to expand services to the medical facilities, and that's one way we think will be a good way to do that. A lot of activity now happening on the Dallas Street area. So it's just gonna capture that. And then, only other major change would be, where the Grand and the Super Center bus actually do their transfer over at 58th and Kincaid. And normally, the difference is the way we approach that. So we're gonna go out onto, Grand Avenue and turn in on 58, rather than, turning off of Waldron, onto Kincaid, then to 58. And the reason being is just safety is the biggest reason. You know, where we don't wanna broadside that bus, you know, expose it to, you know, high-speed traffic going out. So it's better to come in and do that exchange there.
But it's still gonna be near those apartments that are there?
It'll be really
Okay.
close to the apartments. It's pretty much gonna be just outside of Gorman Towers, and down the hill slightly. Now, we are not gonna be going through Gorman Towers, but we've worked with, officials from Gorman Towers and residents, and letting them know kind of what we have planned. We've also worked with the street department. They're planning on, putting in a sidewalk on that green space that's across the street, and a couple of cutouts. Now, we don't know that they'll have the time to get that done prior to the kickoff of when we're gonna do it, so we think the street is plenty wide enough that, you know, we could make that work even on the street. We just have to scoot over a little bit, you know, until we can get that sidewalk done.
I was by there today, Ken, and they have it flagged, so
Oh, okay,
That's a
so
good
they're
thing.
already,
got it flagged.
they're already working on it, so, that might be ready. So, I think we've kind of talked about all of the routes. I can't think of anything. David, did I miss anything that you can think of that's key or major?
Well, I think you covered them all.
So that is the
Yeah,
change.
Grand, did we do the Grand where we bypassed and went down to Albert Pike?
Yes, yeah, we talked about doing one with the Armor Loop.
No, we'll go down Grand going out, instead of turning on Greenwood, we'll go to Albert Pike and then the
Okay.
park.
Yes, yeah,
Do you
what
remember-
he's saying there.
Do you give me go over that with her?
Yeah, can you?
Okay, so what we're doing on Grand now is we go Grand to Greenwood and go back to Kincaid, and go east, Albert Pike,
Yeah.
back to Park, back to Greenwood, back to Grand. Now we're just gonna bypass Greenwood and go to Albert Pike,
Right,
come out south towards Park, back down Park to Greenwood. We'll just be making a loop, kind of,
right.
staying off Kincaid because it's so small and it's so narrow and
And
it's.
that was another comment that was
Yeah.
made, too, and thank you for bringing that up, but, so we make a big square around that. We were going through the center of that square on Kincaid. But even, you know, going around that, we're still 2 blocks away from the route, from that part of the route, any direction you go. So it's not as if it's not, you know, walkable, and we understand it's inconvenience. But that is a narrow street. It would take a lot more time. And, you know, we've looked at ways of trimming off time. I mean, yeah, route segments to give us a little extra time. Because we were, you know, to be honest, we were kind of tight with the small good shape with this, we're excited, we think it's gonna work. And you know, this is, I kind of view the fixed routes as a trunking system, you know, our future efforts are gonna be, you know, trying to figure out ways to move traffic or move pedestrians to the trunking system. So, as we increase services and work with other providers, you know, we want to be able to keep those big buses moving and make sure that we've got ample ability for people to ride. And there is, you know, like I said, the large buses seat 36, and the smaller buses are 30, is that right? 30?
32 maybe, what was that?
Mr. Green, did you have something you
Yes,
would do right now?
all of the routes end up at all of the different super centers along the way. Would that stay the same for the larger buses?
Yes.
The change that we're making over by the future school, sounds great. The only thing I wonder, does that put us, I know there's a stretch over there by the future school that has those cobble brick streets, does that put us going down those in the big bus?
I don't think so.
We are right now doing
Is that okay? Is
We're
that
not gonna be
okay for
doing
the
it.
bus and okay for the street?
We won't be doing it with the new buses.
Okay,
Right.
okay, cause these big buses, I was afraid that might not have
They're
been made
pretty-
for
They're
modern.
pretty unlevel.
They're not great in the car.
And we did think about that.
Okay.
We're looking at it,
It's one of the few places in town that still has a stretch of
Yeah.
that.
yes. So, yeah, and you gotta watch the weight of the bus too. and the
Yeah,
shape.
don't wanna damage the bus or the
Exactly.
street.
Exactly. So that is what we have in the way of, route changes, and comments that we've received. So, you know, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission has. And, you know, one thing I would ask the commission to do is allow us to, you know, work with those people that, you know, we know are impacted and we can prove and verify that are impacted and negatively, and make some form of compensation with tickets. And I don't recall, we know there were some ticket books that we provided in the last time, and we're gonna research that and try to find what we did, but, you know, we gave them for a period of time until, you know, the resident can get, you know, associated, so that there's not like an immediate hardship, you know, there might be a change. But, you know, there's some positive to this too, that's gonna be, so there's some new areas of coverage such as Vicksburg
And
and,
Vicksburg,
yeah,
that's a pretty
there's some.
pretty
apart-
well populated
Yes.
street. I think that may be better than the one that we're cutting
Right,
in that
right.
part.
So, you know, while it might negatively impact someone in this area, it's gonna be a positive impact.
It's a block. I think net positive on that one.
Yeah, and,
On where we're having the change with the Baker Center, I wonder if maybe we could coordinate with the Baker Center and do like a how to get used to using demand response class, like, because there's a learning curve. It's
Yes.
not, you know, if you used it, you know how to use it. If not, someone to help walk you through it and like, you know, get them set up with the account and
right, and something, we
might
have
be
leads,
nice.
we have driver leads that are available that, and they do travel train.
Yeah.
So if there is somebody that has a question about how to access the demand service, they can go actually ride with it. and
Yeah,
set up a
okay.
ride.
We might try and put one on like in mass at the
Yeah.
Baker Center, because I know you know things about the Baker Center, would that, do you think
Well, we
that
don't
would
have a
work?
huge number of people that ride the bus,
Oh, okay.
but at least now.
And there may be
if we
people who
get
would learn
that
it
ridership
and might
back
ride
up, when
something.
we get more employees, we may be running our
Yeah.
van again, but we're not running the van now because, we had one guy that rode it regularly, at least twice a day,
Right.
and he got sick.
And maybe.
And he
if
may
you-
never come back. We've got one lady that lives at Gorman,
Nelson Hall.
Nelson Hall, that walks down and rides back or something. I don't know exactly how she does it.
So we'll work with those individuals.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it
so
probably
right now, it's
doesn't
not a
need a
big
whole mass
impact
class.
on the number of people.
Okay. Cause we could do that if there seems to be a stop that is widely affected. If
Right.
we could, you know, do a little bit of that, do a little group public education.
Right, and it's no different than, you know, we go to the different, apartment complexes and work with them on getting, ADA passes and stuff, and so however we can do to make it smoother. You know, key point that I'm making here is there's about a handful of people that we know now that will be impacted, but there's probably a few more than that that we don't know about because
They haven't
they
seen
may
it
not be
yet,
registered in the system, they may be using the fixed routes and we simply don't know anything about their actual history, and so, but we can verify whether they did use that service or not. So, you know, we'll kind of be keeping our ears tuned to, you know, impacts and being sensitive to that when we can, so, that's kind of what, you know, we're hoping for in this, and asking the commission for.
Anybody got anything on this, on the routes? Well, let's go ahead and vote on approval
Of the fixed routes.
of the fixed route changes.
So I move that we, approve.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Angie?
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes,
Joe?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed.
So, thing too is, on the grand, it's like, Jonathan was telling me that, how you do it at Churchill and all that, and Morris and all that. So instead of KFC where they turn, is that gonna be cut off and they're just gonna go straight ahead to like Family Dollar and all that?
Did you follow that?
No, I didn't understand exactly the question. What was
Can
the
you,
question,
can you
Brad?
share that with David, because he's been doing most of the route editing?
Yeah, Jonathan told me that, 'cause I usually get off on Morse Drive and Churchill Road and walk to Nelson Hall since it's just oval, and Jonathan was telling me that the new buses wouldn't be able to make the Churchill and Morse, so I was wondering, the KFC, will it turn to go down, is that gonna be?
We will turn at KFC and go to North O. Go to North O to 38.
Okay,
So it's like 3 blocks from Churchill and North O.
yeah,
That's where we will turn left and go back to Grand. So,
And another area that's close to that, point is the, Midland route where it goes over on Division. That's only a block away from that area that was being served on the Morris Loop, so, just if you're trying to figure out a way to get into
do
that
you live in
area.
Nelson Hall?
yeah.
Can you not pick up the bus in Nelson Hall?
Well, I usually do the Grand, and just get off at Churchill and everything and walk this way if it's good, but I can always go to, you know, at Family Dollar, get off there and walk 32nd where I usually do and everything.
Okay,
He just was telling me about that, so,
yeah, we're just not gonna do the Morris Road anymore, but we'll be real close on North O and 38, you know.
So that would require another transfer to the Midland route, right, to get into Nelson Hall, or,
Well, not if he walks.
oh,
It's what he was doing, walking, right?
Yeah.
but I mean,
If he was, yeah, it would require a transfer if he needed to get into Midland, or Midland back.
We may have some driver teaching to
Yeah.
do for a few
Yeah, we're-
weeks, you know, until folks get the new drill down.
Exactly.
But the drivers are great about that, you know, sometimes, you know, I've not known, you know, taking a different destination than I was going to, you know, drivers will talk to you, it's like, you know, this is where I'm headed, what do I need to do?
Right, yep. And we'll try to help you out as best we can, and, yeah, let's,
Yep. Let's see, the next item is the approval on the 2023 holiday and free ride calendar.
so, we've included that in your packet, not a lot of changes, or it's very similar to the one that was approved for this year. Nancy, did you have any comments on that? I know you had.
We're back to the normal amount of free ride days, which is 8. This year, we had 10 because of the 2 voting days. So, and they're in the same time frame. It's like 1 day difference on most of them. So I think one of them is a week difference, just so it's close to the holidays, but it followed the same format.
And I checked and I didn't see any voting days that were missing. Next year's
Right.
it's not a big
It's not
voting
a-
year.
No.
I noticed there is not a notation on here about the Hannah Day. Is this something we've discussed with Hannah this year, or?
Well, we haven't, I think what we understood from Hannah last year was they were able to do one more year
Okay,
because of funding that they
Okay.
had, but we haven't really heard whether they're interested in this, so
Yeah.
there may be something.
they may be
um,
done.
We may have to, yeah, or we may, if they do come up and say they'd like to do
We can
something,
just
we
add
have to
it.
come back
Okay.
and work that in.
Who's that, cover?
Hannah Oil and Gas used to sponsor a free ride day, usually in December, in honor of their founder, and would sponsor free rides for everybody all day. Would come bring cookies in the morning, and we would just add it to the calendar. It wasn't a transit thing as much as their generosity day.
That was a great thing that they did.
It was really cool.
Mhm.
It was really
We
cool.
really appreciate what they've done.
Yes.
so.
And that was
But-
in December.
Yeah, yeah, but there's still plenty of room to accommodate it in there.
Sure,
if
or
they-
anyone else
If they do, yeah.
that might be
Yeah, I
interested
already
in
said somebody
sponsoring.
stuff, so.
It's a great thing. We love to have sponsors for things that transit really helps the passengers.
Maybe
And
one of
helps the
these free ride days coming up would be a good day. Do any of them look like they would coordinate with our unveiling kickoff ceremony? Our party? When do we think,
Okay, so that's another point.
cause it would be nice if that coordinated with a free ride day.
We, and that, the commission can make that happen.
Yeah.
So, what we will say is that that's a little hectic of a day, in general, and there may be already a large kind of amount of stress on the drivers.
Okay,
Just to, get used to the larger buses and the activities. Plus, I think a lot of the passengers will be out at the, maybe at the event, and so I don't know, I'm not trying to discourage it, other than it brings about just a little bit of a safety concern for me because of the volume of people that come out, when we do have, are you, I'm with
totally
my
agree.
staff. Do y'all agree on that?
There's gonna be a lot of confusion, I think, and stuff, and that would just kinda
So,
add to it.
maybe the day after, or,
okay.
I know it doesn't have the same kind of,
Yeah, I
Come
like the
straight.
idea of come check them out, take a ride for free.
yeah.
But I don't want to have the customers have a less than optimal experience on that Explore It day.
Yeah.
If the experts think we're gonna have a less than optimal experience that day, I don't wanna, I don't wanna advertise it with it being,
It's two things, because
Real
it would
nuts.
be really good, it would be really good to do on that day. But I'm concerned just because the extra load, and it's the
Okay.
first time we'll be, using the buses.
Is there a route that is so safe for the big buses that it could just be that route?
Maybe on a particular route,
Yeah, just
I think that would
One
be
sh-
hard to,
one short run or something, yeah,
Trial ride.
a trial ride.
what do y'all
Just
think?
throwing it out.
That'd be hard to, it'd be hard to coordinate really from one bus to the next,
Mhm.
as far as.
What do y'all think about doing the free ride day on the?
That's, so the ridership doubles probably on that day.
I'm looking at the passengers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I thought you started to me.
You might wanna explain the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
Yeah,
and that's.
and that's what I'm referring to, we
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
talked about the day yet.
yeah.
So, looking at, the activities at the buses that we're trying to get done, we've got the AVA system, automatic vehicle annunciator system, that we're trying to get on the buses, and that's been pushed back a week, and so, we're looking, I think, the 14th through she said the 14th to the 26th or something. The week before Thanksgiving and the week prior to that, the 14th to the 23rd is when they're expected to be out here to put those in.
It's a automatic,
Vehicle enunciator system.
what is that?
So what that does is as you're going down the avenue, it tells you, we're at,
What stop's coming?
Okay,
right.
okay, thank you.
They're neat. I've seen them
Right.
when I was in
Yeah.
LA. We used them extensively because we didn't know where we were, and it would show us where
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
waiting
yeah.
on our stop. And we could
21st
take a
and
little minute.
Rogers.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Walden and Rogers.
Those are gonna be an improvement. We kind of needed that
Yes.
because it, sometimes it's hard to guess, where the next stop is going to be.
Absolutely. And with the larger bus, you're gonna lose that connectivity that you had with the driver.
Yes.
Oh,
So
especially
you,
for the
we're
back.
gonna need to use those little stop signaling.
Right.
Just yelling, "Hey, I'm at the next one," isn't gonna cut
Right,
it.
right, and they're not a brake, so.
Yeah.
It's something you have to get used to. The delaying and
Yeah,
pulling
you're
it
gonna-
after the stop doesn't
No,
make a lot.
you're gonna need to do it.
But
Your stop
anyways.
is coming.
But the 28th of November is when we're looking at
Okay.
a potential good target date, which is a Monday, for ribbon cutting. And that would give us sufficient time to get the, AVL systems put on the buses, because they're gonna need a little bit of time for each bus. And they're gonna start working on one bus, and they'll move to the next bus. And so it would be difficult if we waited to put those on after we were
Mhm.
operating the big buses. It'd be much easier to do, it, prior to the starting of the buses. So we're talking about, potential November 28th. And that would work well, we think, with the timing it's gonna take to get the
Oh, and
route
that's gonna-
match.
That's gonna have them on the road to be seen through the holiday
Yes.
traffic. People are gonna be slowed down on Rogers and they're
Yes.
gonna see these.
But it's also after, Good Friday, and so, at least it'll be a little calmer, and we're just really concerned about the safety of the drivers, and particularly on that day, and the passengers, safety of the drivers, and safety of the drivers for
Yeah,
the passengers.
everyone.
But anyways, and it's just a unique thing, so that's why we're saying maybe hold the free ride day somewhere close, but not specifically on that day. And so that's our idea, and then we would need to talk a little bit about ribbon cutting too. So thoughts on that, are welcome too, whether that's in other business or.
Yeah, let's go ahead and vote on the holiday schedule, and then we'll do the room cut. I motion for a vote on the approval of the holiday schedule.
And then a second?
Angie?
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes,
Melissa?
Yes.
Joe?
Yep.
All in favor, none opposed.
Okay, now for ribbon cutting thoughts.
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to this party.
I knew you were.
I've been talking about this party since long before we had buses.
And staff is getting
Yeah.
excited about
Yeah.
it. It's
Well,
a
it's
neat
like
thing.
we've got
It's
some of the most
exciting.
exciting things to show off
Yeah.
visually
The
than we've had in
awning.
years. That's it.
Yeah.
Because the awning is still gonna be new to a lot of
Yeah.
people. It's kinda old hat to us that ride a lot, but if
Right.
you haven't been a rider recently, it may still be brand new.
Right.
I think it's nice that after you have all of, the first time that we knew the interest. So later is probably just as good. Just make a bigger deal
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard, everybody sees the buses, everybody knows what they are, and then all of a sudden, guess what? There's a free ride day. There's a ribbon cutting, there's a ceremony, there's maybe not a free ride, I'm sorry, we're not gonna do that, but.
That does fall a little bit during the holidays, which makes it a little bit harder to schedule, because people are often a little overloaded during the holidays. Makes it a little tougher, but we'll find a day that'll work. And
So,
we'll
you don't particularly care for the 28th?
Oh no, the 28th is great. Yes,
Okay.
because I think the 28th hits before
It kinda does.
the busiest parts of that, before the most of the Christmas
Yeah.
parties are happening and everybody's
Okay.
celebrated out.
you know, as a commission, you can add in a free ride day any day, so. And that might not be a bad idea since we had, you know, 10 or 11 last year, so.
Well,
just
that one gets us,
Sporadic day, maybe you want to.
I see there's one for December 6th. I think that gets us pretty close to ribbon cutting.
I
Or if
think
you wanna.
December, early December's,
Mr. Green, you got a
Yes,
thought?
just a reminder that the annual Christmas parade will be coming soon after Thanksgiving. So let's make sure we get a couple of the buses into the
Oh, I
Christmas parade.
love it.
Yeah, I've been actually working with,
That's
I was
wonderful.
working with Shari. She took another position, but I do need to, Nancy, if we could make a note of that. I do think that'd be important.
Yeah.
To get one of those buses in the parade.
We
we're
can stick
already-
some streamers on it.
Yeah, which parade did we, have that in, Nancy? Wasn't it
Veterans.
Veterans Parade? Okay, so we are gonna be in the Veterans Parade.
Veterans
We were talking about November 28th, not December. 28th.
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanna make sure. You were talking about Christmas.
Oh,
and this is
yeah,
after Thanksgiving.
yeah, you're,
Okay.
yeah, you're
So-
spot on. Oh, but I love the parade idea.
So would the commission be interested in making adding another free ride day on November the 29th? You know, just.
Oh,
as
the
a-
very next day,
Yeah.
come ride it tomorrow.
At least that would give the drivers one day to.
And that would be a Tuesday,
Well, maybe the 30th, would be probably even better yet for us, but, that way the drivers would have at least one day to make
Yeah,
sure.
because
that
you
we're-
might have a different driver Tuesday,
Yeah,
wasn't driving the blue bus one
so
Monday.
Wednesday, the 30th, is what we're proposing would be a really good day to add another ride day if you want to.
What, I'm a little confused about the thing about the driver.
Okay, so the AM that Monday is gonna be certain drivers,
Okay,
and then the PM will be, the way I understand it, Ken, is that correct?
Yes.
PM will be the other set of drivers.
okay.
That way, you know,
Our free ride
They're
day,
driving
everyone
there.
would have had a chance. I
Right,
love this.
right.
Yes, we should put it off till everybody's had a chance. I agree.
To do
Yeah,
it on the routes.
I like it.
So, yeah, so the morning, we're planning this for, around, what, 10 or 11, in the 10 or 11 o'clock hour,
Yeah.
the ribbon cutting. What time did we decide?
I think it's
11:30.
11:30 on
Eleven
Monday.
thirty, okay, 11:30, and so our morning drivers will have already driven the older buses, but they will not have had a chance to.
They'll get to
drive-
switch.
driven the newer buses. And so the Tuesday would give an opportunity for everybody to have become oriented with the routes and the buses.
I like that.
So Wednesday would be actually a good day.
Yeah, get the kinks worked out
Yeah,
for a
sure.
day.
Yeah, to do the free ride day. And I would feel a lot safer if we did that on Wednesday,
Yeah,
rather than.
I like that. Do y'all like that?
I really
I
appreciate that.
motion we add a free ride day, Wednesday, November 30th?
Yes, that's the right date.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Bradley,
Yes,
Joe? Yes. Melissa?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed.
And so we're okay with the, ribbon cutting on that day?
Yes, I think that's great.
Alright, sounds good. And, so thoughts about what, I'll give you some thoughts of what we've talked about and how we're planning on kind of setting this up. What we'd like to do, the whole idea would be out with the old and in with the new, so to speak. So we wanna already have the new buses lined up next to the awning, and ready to go. And then, start our presentation probably at 11:30. And, talk a little bit about the department, the new buses, the new awning, you know, cover the things. And then have, when the actual buses come in for the drop-off, that we're having them drop off at the end of the driveway as opposed to coming in to the transfer station. So then, all the passengers that would like to see, you know, or doing the transfer can, you know, take part in the ribbon cutting and actually come in and board the buses. And they can do it from that driveway. That way they're not on the, transfer station property in a vehicle, you know,
Mhm.
moving while there's pedestrians and a lot of activity out there. And so anybody that wants to attend, we're gonna ask them to go to the, convention center parking lot, and I've already spoken with, the manager there today, and, you know, to secure some parking over in that
A
area.
Monday afternoon
Right,
shouldn't be a problem.
And
I'll
so
have
that
it.
will be, and we'll do a shuttle from there over to the, ribbon cutting at the transfer station. But the drop-off point's gonna be at the end of the driveway, you know, the exit into the driveway, as opposed to going through the lot and all that. I think that'll be the safest way, to make sure everybody gets dropped off and boarded up and participates in the ribbon cutting. Then at that point, we'll just, get everybody loaded up and do our final remarks and do the ribbon cutting and move on. I think we're also talking about having some, light snacks like, cookies, maybe just a shot of hot chocolate, not a lot.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
And some bottled water,
Yeah.
something simple,
Yeah.
but thank you, you know, kind of thing. And, we'll, most likely, we've been talking with Gilly, and they will have some trinkets, like some handouts, and maybe some squeezy buses, things like that, that, people can, you know, take, little takeaways that they can have, as part of the, party favors, I guess you could say, part of the event. You know, we'll be thanking FTA for their involvement, the board, the commission, everyone that's a staff, everyone that's had a part in, you know, making this project possible, so.
We need to make sure and have a big pile of updated ride guides ready,
Yeah,
because we may have some people who
that's a good.
have
point.
not already seen one and are not familiar, dignitaries showing up,
That's a good
need
point.
that.
And we should have enough time between, you know,
Yeah.
today, now that we've got these approved, and going forward, by then we should have it updated on the route match system as well, so should be ready to go,
And we're gonna make sure and invite all the news,
yes.
cause we definitely wanna make a big news
Oh,
story
yeah.
out of it.
Oh, this is iconic to.
Yeah,
us.
it's huge. You know, and we should invite some dignitaries that may not come, just throw a line out there and see,
Sure,
people who feel like a stakeholder, like our, various congressmen could have been involved in the federal grant. Like, we can invite the Secretary of Transportation, you know, I'm sure Mr. Buttigieg has something better to do, but just in case he doesn't,
right,
we're a photo op.
right.
This
right.
is a successful,
And this is big, it's big
Yeah.
it's big for the FDA,
It's
I
a-
mean,
it's
the
a
FDA has
success.
invested, you know, over $5 million in
Yeah.
this project.
yeah,
so,
we should send them a line,
Yeah,
see if they'll show up, you know, and that helps boost the
I think so.
visibility, but the more, you know, illustrious guests we have.
Yeah.
What you got, Ms. Green?
This is way out of the box, but our city board of directors meet once a month. How about we make one of those buses available for them to do their study session, and then everything else happens after that?
So,
Yeah,
to I can respond to that. We actually had a, landfill tour set up for the board of directors, but it got canceled. There was I guess some issue, not having enough, participants, not a quorum, yeah. So that is possible that there may be a tour prior to that area, because the board has talked about wanting to do a tour in one of the big buses.
And there was interest, it just
Yeah.
happened to be a
Yeah.
day that.
There was
people
interest,
didn't
just,
go.
yes, there was interest, and I think it might have been raining that day too.
And you did, yeah, I thought it was because of the rain, I thought it was
Yeah.
too muddy enough is why we
Yeah.
canceled. He did a show and tell at one of the board of directors meetings, the day that the first big bus arrived. He took it out there so they could tour it, and I know there was a lot of positive
Sure,
response.
right.
There was a couple of directors in particular who were really very impressed.
Exactly,
But yeah, we'll invite them and
absolutely.
to the ribbon cutting,
absolutely.
but I think we can throw out some invites, invite the governor and,
Might as well put it out there.
and, see who shows up, you never know, I mean, and,
Sounds like a
And there may be some freshly elected folks who wanna get their face out there and.
This is a good point, yeah. And so we're kind of trying to think of a time frame where, you know, like I said, the beginning to end, 11:30 to 12, you know.
Mhm. I think that's perfect. No,
no
we
more
don't
than
need to
30
run it very long.
Right. And, so, if you have thoughts on things to say or, you know, messages that need to get out there about, or if you wanna speak, open the door.
What about inclement weather?
The awning,
I
I think
think, yeah, the awning, makes that very
I think
possible.
if nothing else, the awning really shines in
Yeah.
inclement weather. Cause you're right, it's gonna be a questionable time of year.
It could be.
But
Yeah.
I think that the awning especially shows itself well,
Good.
because you're gonna be able to see us spaced out and covered,
Right.
instead of huddled
That's true.
under the little overhang
Exactly,
like we used to
exactly.
be.
Yeah.
And you know, the whole idea of social distancing, that's part of why we put the awning up, the big
Yeah.
buses, is, you know, instead of being huddled, and I think you said it best on the one presentation that you gave. But instead of being huddled under that little awning, now we're spread
We
out.
did that, I mean, we cram under there like a bunch of little
Right.
mice, and, yeah, this is so much nicer. We'll have, it has adequate restroom facilities, we'll be covered for now, we're covered for inclement weather. I think it sounds wonderful, I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll try to keep the commission up to date with
Yeah.
what we've got planned, our final plans,
And just that little short bit, people can schedule their lunch and, you know, come out for just a minute and
we'll,
see and be seen and
take in the sights. And,
Yeah. do a little show and tell real quick.
the
And,
buses will look
Yeah.
nice, and, you know, we may have one large bus that.
oh, and that'll give us an end time that has a perfect depart right out of the thing, cause
Right.
the new Nowra bus will,
Depart out
and that's a natural end to the celebration too, that we
right.
rolled them out.
And I think we're
I
gonna
don't
have
know.
the buses come around and park at the convention center facing, you know, the transfer station, and have out of service on all of those, you know. And then the new ones will
Love
naturally
it.
have the new destinations on, or new routes.
Love it.
So, out with the old, in with the new.
I think you need to start at 11:15. Sounds like you got enough going if you want a departure at 12 sharp.
Right,
Yeah.
right, good point.
Of course, it depends upon how many of our dignitaries decide to
Well,
show up.
it's
The-
hard to
the-
tell with things.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes, you know, you plan for big and
Yeah.
there's a handful of us show up, and then sometimes
Right.
you surprise yourself.
Definitely staff will be down there, you
Yeah.
know, probably in the 10 o'clock hour, you know, that's.
Oh, yeah.
that's
Well, I was just
the-
thinking if the dignitaries come,
Yeah,
that, and they speak, you know,
yeah.
And we can offer an opportunity to speak.
Oh,
so-
yeah, if anybody
and- and
RSVPs
not- not a
and-
requirement.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Unexpectedly shows up and they
Yeah.
have something they wanna say. But, and we
I
make sure
thought
to
it was
divide.
interesting when I put it on Facebook, pictures of it, how many people didn't even think we had a transit system.
That's still
That's
good.
gonna be one of the best parts about those
I
big
guess
buses.
the white ones just don't look like buses.
Right,
Look, they don't look like a city bus that is for everybody. They look like they're, you know, a church
Chartered,
bus or,
chartered.
yeah, or, you know, a shuttle bus of some sort. They don't, but those scream city bus. You see that, you know we have a city bus.
Mhm.
They are self-advertising. That's my favorite part about them, I think. And I wouldn't have guessed that the blue color was gonna be
Mhm.
as big a standout for that as it is, but I think that's beautiful. I think that's really gonna pop. People are gonna see it and they're gonna know.
Mhm.
We get thumbs up all over town now.
Do you?
When we're training, yeah, we get thumbs up
Aw,
everywhere we go.
That's
that's
wonderful.
awesome.
Are the drivers feeling pretty happy about the buses? Is this?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's been a lot of anxiety, but we've done one full day of training with all the drivers, and they're asking for a second full day. When I say full day, full shift.
Right.
And I'm seeing it in them now that, hey, this thing's pretty nice, you know?
Mhm.
And, you know, by the time they really get accustomed to it, you won't get them back in one of those smaller.
I know,
Well,
that's
if
been-
nothing else, the accessibility that's improved has got to
Yeah.
be a help for the drivers. not having to do as much stop and assist to
Right.
get the wheelchairs on.
Absolutely. Yeah, just
Because this will be
flip out a ramp.
this will be self-serve, basically.
Yeah, it will be, flip out a ramp versus,
Yeah,
go through the whole process of.
just that's gonna be,
waiting in line.
that's gonna be a big help.
Exactly.
Are they gonna use little buses at all, like demand response? or-
Oh, yeah, so the little buses will still be used for demand response, we'll still, at times when we have to service a big bus, or maybe even initially, we had the one bus that got hit when it was, being delivered down here.
You hit a big giant blue bus?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm afraid of getting a train, what can I say?
But, Gillig is really working hard, that we've already got some of the pieces for that, shipped to us, and they're painting other pieces, and so we may have that bus ready to go, but in the event that it's not, we'll probably put, that one would probably be at the super center anyways. Probably wouldn't even be part of the
It
big
won't go
stuff.
downtown,
And so we would, use one of the smaller, medium-sized cutaways, the white buses, on the super center bus, until that gets repaired. So that's a possibility, but, for the most part, we're gonna try to use those blue buses as much as we can, as often as we can. That's the reason we got them, so.
When are these parades that we were talking about? I didn't catch a
So
date
I
on
know
these parades
we're
that we were talking about
attending the,
participating in. I'm on, add it to my calendar,
Yeah, the Veterans Day Parade,
I-
we work with,
I think it's the 12th.
okay.
I thought it was the 11th, I don't know why.
It's on a Saturday.
So it'll be
So
12.
I think it's the 12th.
Okay, and that's
It's-
the Veterans Parade.
that's the Fort Chaffee, right?
Right.
November
At Chaffee
12th,
Crossing.
At Chaffee,
Chaffee
gotcha.
Yes.
And the Christmas parade is,
So
when's the
we'll need
Christmas
to check
parade?
into
I
that.
don't, let me see if I can Google it, if it'll tell me. Do they need to vote on this ribbon cutting date and time? I'm just curious, cause I just didn't know.
I don't know that we need a vote, we can have one, but that seems like an executive decision there, that
Yeah,
we were more
Okay.
consulted
I
than
just
required.
wanted to be sure.
Yeah, I mean, we can vote, but,
I think we're okay
Okay.
with it.
But Saturday the 26th is a tree lighting downtown.
okay.
Upkeep, what's in beautiful.
It's in November.
Yes. Yep.
December 10th
December 10th.
is the Christmas
Christmas
parade.
parade, okay.
Okay.
Downtown Fort Smith at 3 o'clock.
That's a brilliant idea, that's gonna be great.
Did you need to vote for the extra free ride day?
They already do,
I think we voted.
On the extra one?
The combination.
Oh, it's a combination? Okay. I'll just didn't know that. that way.
The November 30th one,
Okay.
I think we voted. All right, now the commissioners forum, anybody got anything?
Just for youths, like my students kind of brainstormed how to get students to ride the bus more, if we just stick the mascot on there, bam.
Aha,
So have the mascot ride the bus for a day.
I love it,
Oh, that'd be cool.
I love it,
Numa on the bus.
that's
I like
brilliant.
Yeah.
And we can, video this, make this a photo op, this would,
Yes.
I think that he would TikTok well, and I know that a
Yep.
lot of university agers are
That
TikTokers.
would be
I'm
good.
not a TikToker, my husband does it, but that would, fit well with the short video format, he can get on there,
How cool.
I love it,
Good idea.
I love it.
Can you say that again?
What is that? Put Numa on the bus.
The,
A Numa bus, Numa riding the bus.
the mascot Numa?
Yeah,
Okay.
mascot Numa.
Okay. I love it.
That is cool.
That is such a brilliant.
Why didn't we
idea.
think of that?
Yeah, I don't know why you think of it.
For our grant, we wrote a big grant and then we forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did.
we're thinking of a fun scavenger hunt around town, like find the first bus stop,
Yeah,
find specific things related to FS.
that would be fun to do that.
If we get the grant, but we
Yeah.
can do it without it,
Yes, that's true.
yeah.
So, with some good thinking, yeah. We have a lot of talent on the commission.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That would attract good attention to it.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could even get maybe, like, the basketball team
Oh, yeah. athletes, get athletes.
run on it, follow Numa onto the bus.
Get athletes on the bus.
You know, if possible, you know, yeah, so, something like that.
Mom squad.
Yeah, we could possibly do that. I like
Cross
it.
country, just do cross country, chasing the bus.
Yeah, they don't get on the
Just
bus,
leave
they
it
get
out.
behind the bus. They're not let on,
Yeah.
they have to walk.
Yeah.
Lots of fun ideas. Really
I'll
neat.
look into these.
But I do think the new buses, they bring about a new energy to Fort Smith.
They're really exciting, they're,
They're kind of iconic
and they're very leading the way, taking our place as a city. You know,
Bigger city than-
And it, you know, our transit system is nicer than the one they have in NWA. And this is gonna make it look visually,
Mhm.
you know, that big city look, where people are gonna be able to see how much nicer ours is.
I don't know that I wanna compare them.
Well, no, but
Those
really,
guys have done a lot.
yes, but
Yeah.
often, you know, often
Yeah.
Fort Smith kinda
Right.
gets compared to some of the
Right.
flashier amenities that they have up there. And ours is probably often not noticed because it looks less flashy.
Mhm.
And this,
This is flash.
you'll see it,
Yeah.
that this
Yeah.
is,
And just as you heard it from David, and I've seen it when I've been out on the bus with them, it's, you know, thumbs up, people going down the road, you know, hand
yeah,
out.
it's great.
We love the big bus, it's
Mhm.
nice, so it brings about a new energy, that, you know, you just wouldn't think about before, but, you know, it's eye-catching, as you said, the blue,
Yeah, you can't miss that blue bus.
the BRT front that's on it, I think
Mhm.
makes it look very attractive.
Mhm.
It's just a nice looking bus.
You can't miss that bus, and you can't mistake it for anything else.
Right.
That is a city bus.
It is. And it does put us on the map,
It
like I
does.
said.
Got anything for us today, Bradley? Anything for us? I had somebody comment, and I think they are very right, that our map seems to have it does not currently, and it seems to have never had the downtown shuttle on the map.
Oh, okay.
And I think I know that this one was really focused on the changes.
Right.
But I think when we get ready to print it again with the new changes, we need to have, I know
Put
that
the
there's,
shuttle in.
I know that there's flexibility in the shuttle, but it has a core route.
Mhm.
We need the shuttle route printed on there.
We might-
Especially for visitors who aren't used to
Right.
guessing and knowing that it runs downtown, where's downtown, they can guess where downtown is. But if you're not from here, you may not
I
know.
think one of the reasons that we didn't have it on there before was, there's so much activity already in such a small area.
It is packed
and it
tightly
only-
down there.
Yeah, so what we may need to do is to see the upper right portion of that where it's blank.
As an
We may need to
inset?
put an inset
Yeah, I like that.
that has the,
Yeah. We used to
another-
do an
yeah.
inset for
I
something
think
else.
we
Was
did.
it
We
the,
might have even done it for.
Yeah, well, it'd be good to
Sure.
do an insert, cause then you could make a comment about the fares and no fares.
yeah, that this is the free
Yeah.
downtown
Yeah.
shuttle in the insert.
Yeah.
Right,
I like that.
Yeah.
good idea. Good
That-
idea.
Especially people who aren't from here, they don't know that it's free,
Yeah.
and they can't guess where it might service. And it actually services some areas you might not guess if you knew it was just downtown. Like it runs all the way to Sparks,
Right,
and I don't think you would know that this was a way to get to Sparks
right, if it didn't,
if you didn't have it on your map. We should do that. I love it.
Well, say that it is on the, I know that it is on the app,
Yes, it's beautiful on the app.
but yeah, not on.
I do catch a lot of people still using a style map that, you know, maybe not when you're doing the actual planning of your route, but when you're kind of just doing the pre-plan, is this a place I can get on the bus?
right.